akanifunza na akanikuza uwanjao wa Shira. Ndio maana mimi napenda sanaa sana since high school, toka hizo zama. Though si kila time nitakuwa na money, but still napambana, niko na imani. I do this for passion, cause naamini ipo siku nitashika keys za V8 na mansion. So kabla nimepoteza dira, natumai nyote hamjambo. So sasa nataka kuambia kuhusu hili jambo, innovation. Ndio nimalize hii session, let us have a conversation. Just try to imagine of a world with its digital range so wide. A world that is very digitalized, where everything does not need to be analyzed. It is not a lie, of course, because less manpower will be used. So just imagine of a scenario, you get into a hotel and get served by a robot. You will be bemused. Skiza, si kitambo tulikuwa kwenye kiza, na nuru mitandao ikaja kuwekeza na vizuri katuelekeza. Leo si kama vile awali, sasa tumekuwa bunifu, tumepanuka kiakili kama semavyo Waswahili. Mambo huende yakibadilika kila masaa, mwaka na dakika. Hakika kimawasiliano hakuna kuteseka, si imetuleta pamoja na imedumisha umoja hadi kwenye mipaka. Vijana, tuendelee kujifunza kuhusu dijitali kote duniani na si mashariki, maana udugu haukatiki. Maadamu imetujia teknolojia na kwa urahisi mambo imetufanyia, wala sio mbaya yangunia. Acha niseme tu, matatizo yote tumeaweka ndani ya gunia. Kwa sasa ni safi njia, hakuna uchochezi. Viwandani hadi nyumbani, kwetu si kubwa kazi. When I close my eyes, I see darkness. Drove back in the past in my mind, creating craziness. The past that was incomplete cannot be compared with today. Very hard to compete. To an era, getting back to that old era. An era with terror, an era without a camera, an era without Facebook, an era without e-light book, an era without a book, an era where people used smoke as a sign of communication. Such an intimidation. So I believe the future is for those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. So the future is like a dice that tosses, and many takes it for a bed of roses. See, it is not for granted, but I have a dream that one day chips will be implanted. So these are the changing times, for we are living in the brighter days. See, I go by the name the Poetic Hunter. A boy from Kilifi, had kama Mkilifi. Si watabaki wamefrown juu kwa hii game. Mimi ndio nimebeba crown, yeah, I'm the king. Niko kwa stage na rain, not tall, short but big brain. I do poetry to express, not to impress empresses. Staki ma chicks fanyi pottery, nipe mic na fanya poetry. So west or east, zama hizo ndani ya wa, ungenipata for east na nilipenda drama. Mejikenda lugha ya mama, so staki kicheko, vidzeko.
Naomba tuwapigie makofi tafadhali. Tuwapate makofi mazuri. Asante, asante, asante. Thank you so much. Kwa hivi sasa nafikiri tuko tayari. Ningeomba nimuone Shiko. Dr. Shiko Gitau. Thank you so much. It's beautiful to see you. Karibu sana. This is your session. Uko na dakika zako kidogo, at least to address us and to give us the keynote. And thank you so much for being here. We appreciate the fact that you have found time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? You can hear me? I'm hoping.
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much for having me here. I thought the session was going to be in the morning. If I'd known in the afternoon, maybe I'll have come to Mombasa. I was just really not able to have made it in the morning, but I'm happy it's in the afternoon and I'm able to be part of this conversation around the future of work. The future of work is something that is very close to my heart. I've worked on this space for the last 15 years. So it's a great pleasure to talk about it. So I'm going to do a combination of presentation and a talk. I was told I have 5 minutes. I had prepared a 25-minute presentation. I'm going to try as much as possible to not do 25 minutes, to do at least maybe 10 at most. So a bit, okay, it's not present. Just a minute, I'm just sharing my slides. So my name is Dr. Shiko Gitau. I'm the CEO of Kala. We are a digital innovation lab. Our goal is to catalyze Africa's digital future, and we do this by working with organizations to help them achieve high results through research engineering and being able to embed innovation as a culture in organization. We also work with startups to help them build both digital and data platforms to solve key societal problems. So that is the official introduction to Kala. And I want to jump into the future of work. So we've been doing as Kala the future of work for the past for the past 4 years, almost 5 years now. Of course, Kala is coming to 5 years. Our anchor work is around future of work. And I just want to talk about this and what does it mean. Just to set a stage. I don't know if you know this, that by 2050, Africa will be the world's workforce. I want that to sink in. 1 in every 3 people of working age will be on the continent of Africa. Yes, that is in 26 years. Before you think 2050 is a long time away. Africa will be a population of 2.5 billion people. That is, in 26 years, we'll have doubled in size from where we are today at 1.2 billion. And I'm convinced, and I want data to convince me otherwise, that there is no amount of agriculture, manufacturing, or other industrialization production that will single-handedly solve the youth bulge problem that currently stands at 19-year-old. That is, our continent is 19-year-olds on average today in 2023, and in 2 years' time, in 2025, it will drop to 17 years. I'm convinced after many years of work that digital development is Africa's anchor frontier industry, as coal was to Europe. You know, when you talk about the first, second, third, fourth industrial revolution, coal caused the first industrial revolution by increasing energy access, production's age, and just being able to allow people to do work faster. That is what digital has done for the continent. And I'll not belabor by giving examples. Over the past 2 decades, we have seen digital platforms act as channels to new pathways and support mechanisms for livelihood. The future of work is digital, it's distributed, and it's African. Just to give you a bit of some numbers, about 10 years ago, McKinsey gave a report called The Lions Go Digital, referring to Africa and our going digital. The internet is valued at 300 billion by 2025. These numbers have not changed have not been altered given the COVID accelerated digital transformation, as some of our friends say. We know that it is contributing to digital is contributing to 5.2% in the African GDP. A few more numbers. By 2025, 50% of the continent will be connected. And you ask, what are people doing on the internet? Are these numbers real? Are they lying to us? No, they're not lying to us. Just this year, in 2023, just to do like a dipstick study, we're wondering, what are people doing on the internet? If you Google today, Kenya by itself is the highest per capita user of many of the social media platforms. I'm not going to ask anybody to raise their hand, but how many people around you do you know who use TikTok? And how many people use WhatsApp? Numbers show that Kenya, our small country of 50 million people, has the highest usage of these two platforms per capita in the world. It means that we are consuming a lot of internet, and digital literacy is no longer a problem. Yeah? Digital devices seems to be no longer a problem if you're able to use the internet. So what next? And that's what we call platform livelihoods. Now you will see my slides moving now. We believe that the future of work has three components. It's made of platforms, agency, and skills. And I'll quickly go through each one of them because they're very important. Even as a country, we are thinking about the future of work. And even as a continent, we are thinking about for digital being an anchor frontier industry. So what are platforms? These are ways people earn a living by working, trading, renting, or engaging in digital marketplaces. We all know somebody who is doing a side hustle online. Either they are social media influencers, or they are selling things online, or they are the admin for their chama online. Everything is being done on WhatsApp and TikTok. We know that for sure. And people are making money. I know I'm not supposed to be saying this with Hare in view, but it's true. People are making money, and good money, which is a good thing for our young people. What does digital look like in Africa? This is what I was talking about earlier. 360 million mobile phones, 600 million people connected to the internet, 75 billion in annual e-commerce sales. And to put it, you might say this is in Africa, but Kenya is fourth largest e-commerce country in Africa. So you can imagine maybe 25 billion of that money is coming into the country, and approximately 50% internet penetration. But what excites me is the contribution to GDP. It says 300 billion in total, but in Kenya, digital and the technology industry in 2021, I only have 2021 numbers, contributed 9% to the GDP, which is a huge number, to be honest. And that is not exhaustive, because how we define digital and telco in the economic sense is very, very different from what actually it is in reality. These are just some of the numbers of internet usage that I've just spoken about, where Kenya is actually #1 in TikTok usage and WhatsApp usage. I want that to sit with you. This is how it looks like when it comes to digital work. Kenya is still, punching above its weight when our dot is bigger than most other countries, even bigger than South Africa, and we can do better. And what are people actually doing? So these are numbers that, this is just an infographic of what people are doing. Software development, I shocked that software development came tops. And design, I thought like essay writers was going to be up there, but it's still up there. So we are really skilled, and we are talking to the world and working for the world. But are we designing ourselves for the world? So a few weeks ago, you heard the president was in San Francisco, and one of the biggest feedback we got is Kenyan talent is best in class. We are better than India, we are better than Philippines, we are better than, what is the Asian one? There is one in Latin America that I've forgotten. There's a big market in Latin America. What we lack is contextual. We need to be able to understand local context, and not just our local context, but the context of the markets that we're actually going to be serving. So if you want to work in Germany, go and work in Germany. An interesting use case we had is this girl who is working in Japan. And what are they doing to work in Japan? They are going online and watching Japanese telenovelas. It's being creative in understanding the context of the person that you're working with. Platforms are social. We have to be talking to each other and connecting with each other. We have seen this on WhatsApp, we have seen this in TikTok. And our culture, albeit being diluted, is becoming global. And we need to be very cognizant of that. It's shareable. If you're going to be using platforms to be able to do work, we need to know that we have to be able to build communities that are core to our livelihood. We need to be able to share, we need to be able to connect with other people, we need to be able to share the quality of our work, which is something that needs to happen. It needs to be scalable. Whatever you're learning, whatever platforms you're using needs to be scalable. You need to be able to pivot quickly and be able to adapt into new functionality, features, and accommodate new emerging roles. So the biggest joke in tech this year has been being a chat GPT engineer. No, not engineer, they're called what? People who ask questions, yeah? That is actually an actual job. We were making a joke of it, and people are actually making money by being somebody who is able to generate the right questions to ask to chat GPT. Those are the key principles when it comes to platforms. The next one is skills. And here is a pet peeve. I'm hoping Nyambura is in the audience, because this is something we've spoken about. Digital skills means the critical thinking and technological capacity to access, manage, understand, integrate, communicate, evaluate, and create safely and appropriately through digital means. We know everybody, every single charity, every NGO, every school, they're all teaching digital literacy. But you're not teaching appropriate digital skills, which means that many of the people that are coming out of our programs are not employable and are getting frustrated. Why? Have we ticked any of these boxes? Is there critical thinking? Is there ability to use technology? But more than that, are we able to understand and integrate in a way that we can use digital means? Is this what we are teaching our young people in the programs that we are talking about? And I'll be interested in hearing the panel and their conversations around digital skills. So, I mean, this is very, very small, and I will not go into it. So we have organized digital skills into 3 buckets. Basic skills, which also includes digital literacy, it's skills to be enabled you to be functional online. Skills, the next one is the intermediary skills, which is skills that enable you to make money and be productive. Advanced skills make you become an expert in your field. And if the training organization you're working with or you're sending your kids to are not looking at each in these 3 phases, they're just teaching one size fits all, you're doing a disservice to these young people. And we need to rethink how we are doing digital skills. We really do need, as a country, to have a conversation with ourselves. So this is just another, what are the key building skills for being digitally enabled? There needs to be human skills, business skills, and digital skills that needs to happen. How do you make it happen? How are we making it happen? As I mentioned, there needs to be a conversation at a national level from policy. There needs to be partnerships with people who are actually doing this. There needs to be skills. This needs to be institutionalized. Like, if something happens to one leader, it does not change how we are doing. And off-taker market, we have to give kudos to our president for going to market the country outside, because he's creating an off-taker market for all these skills and young people we are training. There are millions of jobs out there. Just to give you an example, in California, the youth unemployment rate stands at 2%, which means they are not able to manage their own demand. they need skills from outside here. And I always say Kenya can be able to provide that skill. So what are you doing to be able to be hired there? Because many people actually doing their part of the work to bring the jobs home. And we need to continuously monitor and evaluate and learn from the skills. So in terms of skills, what are the three key things? It needs to be transferable. You cannot learn a skill that you cannot easily transfer from one platform to the other, from one employer to the other. Number two, there needs to be relevance. It cannot be Word and Excel sheet. It has to be something that you can work and make money. It has to be commercially viable. What are you, because the best thing, as I mentioned, is digital is our anchor industry. Are we able to sell your skill as a commodity? Are we able to productize, like I would say, am I able to productize Shiko and package Shiko and sell Shiko to the world and millions of other Shikos who are actually learning online? That is something that you need to be learning as you're going to all these skills training, as you're going out to do programming and training for young people, is how do you package this person and sell them to the world? An agency is the final one. This is a tricky one because even I had a bit of second thoughts when I was thinking about putting this, but it's important. We are in an age where young people's right to talk and respond and agitate for their own rights has been hampered because of one single voice. And this needs to be empowered, especially in a digital age where accountability is very, very narrow. So agency refers to the ability and capability of people to negotiate for fair wages, a working environment that is safe, secure, and respectful. It is both at an individual and a socio-economic level. This means that you need to be able to have the ability to negotiate that you're paid right and you're paid at the right grade, that your working environment, albeit from home, should be safe and secure and respectful. And this applies for both young women and young men. People should be able to respect you at work. So this is a quote from somebody at work who was saying, who is the Atwoli of gig workers? Who is agitating for the rights of gig workers? And that is a question that has not been answered. That was 2021, we are in 2023. That is a question that has not been answered. Do we have policies protecting young people? Do we have communities talking on behalf of young people? Do we have organizations working for young people in the gig economy? It's a question that still remains unanswered, but is important. We've already talked about this. Why do we do gig work? It's flexible. The income is higher than going hustling somewhere else, and you can access it from anywhere else. But it has many hazards. Is it fulfilling, or are you doing it just for the paycheck? Is it humane? Are you being treated? Are you working 18 to 24 hours a day to be able to meet the requirements? Diversity. And this is women and people with disability. Women in the last 2 years has changed a lot, but people with disability are still held back. And formalization or lack of thereof. Are we ever going to have a formalization of the gig economy? Do we want the formalization of the gig economy? Is a question that I ask myself as well. Do we want it? Will it inhibit other people from participating in the gig economy? The guiding principles. Some of these people want to remain invisible. And that means that we need to be able to respect people if they want to remain invisible. But in that sense, we also need to be able to increase dignity. There's a lot of work that is happening around this, increasing dignity of the young people who are working in the gig economy and the BPO sector, and you need to be working around it. We need to be inclusive and diverse. We need to encourage the people living with disability, our young women to start participating, especially the young women, because you're no longer held back by your gender to work online. social protection is a question that we've been asking ourselves is, with these young people working online, there is no longer an idea of having insurance, life cover, a mental health support. Who is working on this? There's a few projects on this that will be announced soon enough, but social protection is something that needs to be worked on, but also representation. People working online need to have an attorney to be able to work with them. Finally, I always give this graph to show that as much as you're working online, we are working online because of people, because of their lives, and because of their dreams. And their dreams live beyond digital. It's somebody who wants to buy a nice car, somebody who wants to build a home for their family, or somebody who wants to come to Kilifi for holiday. And we need to be able to accommodate that. And for me, that is the future of work. We need to be able to accommodate that. It's about platforms, it's about skills, the right types of skills, it's about agency, but more so it's about people, their lives, and their dreams. Thank you very much. And back to you in the studio.
Asante sana, Dr. Shiko. Thank you so much, and thank you for your time. Maybe just to let you know that Dr. Shiko is among the best people in technology in Kenya, just in case you didn't know, or just in case we were not listening. So that's the one person you need to know, especially because we have a lot of our businesses online. So she's one person that we need to learn from. Thank you so much, Daktari. We appreciate you. I would like to acknowledge, because I like it when we talk about money, and I know Youth Fund wako na pesa za kupatia vijana. Naona pale CEO ana smile. Ningependa CEO asimame tu awevie vijana wamuone ndio wapate kumfuata. The CEO wa Youth Fund anaitwa Josiah Muriasi. Naomba tafadhali tumpigie makofi. Huyo ndio mtu wa kufuata. Chia tuachaneni na yeye for now. Asante sana CEO. Thank you so much for your time. Without wasting a lot of time, I would like to call, we have 2 pitches, 3 minutes each. And I would like to call Blue Radio on stage. Blue Radio on stage to come and do a pitch. Blue Radio, are we ready? And you have less than 3 minutes for the pitch.
Oh, la, la, la. Chewy! Where's zombie? How Chewy? Batman. Simba no Simba Dangote. Najua na madeni na matatizo ya kodi. Ila pesa ya pombe na shisha sikosi.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm glad that I'm getting to talk to you when your sugar levels are back up. My name is Johnson Mwangangi. I'm the CEO of Gilitix Media. Gilitix Media owns Blue Radio. Blue Radio is an interesting innovation that began right here in the Pwani Innovation Week 2022. And as you can see in that picture there, that's us. At the time, we only had that T-shirt for branding, but we knew what we wanted. So what is Blue Radio, and what challenges is Blue Radio looking to solve? As you all know, this is Pwani Innovation Week. And in the coastal region, we have vast resources, and most of these resources are untapped. And when we looked around, one of the reasons is because there's no information that goes around to help people tap into these resources. So there's limited education, there's limited information, and that leads to unemployment and underutilized potential among the youth. But I'm glad we have Pwani Innovation Week here because it is helping us push that. So the impact leads to economic stagnation and mixed global opportunities. When we get someone from the coastal region going to represent us in the international space, it is very interesting. We're like, oh, that's our own. But we have a lot of untapped potential that we can go into. So there's also a growing digital divide and social inequality. So what solution are we presenting as Blue Radio? First of all, Blue Radio is just not your normal radio. We are digital online radio. That means we do audiovisual radio on the digital space. I'm going to get to that later. So one of the ways we are trying to solve these challenges is bringing information to people, especially with focus to the blue economy and the entrepreneurship opportunities. And we're doing this by providing digital access and education opportunities and educating the community, especially our fellow youth, and empowering the youth and promoting inclusivity. And how are we doing this? What is our ecosystem at Blue Radio? One, we have created a digital ecosystem whereby we are able to share information through broadcasting. We have our own online page, we have our website, and we have our application. That is one. And the other one, we are able to reach out to our fellow youth through events and other opportunities. Like we just concluded Mombasa Youth Dialogue, where we were having a dialogue about shipping and maritime, especially the opportunities around that. We are glad Soiliport came through for us among many other partners. And other ways we are reaching out to the youth. Next slide, please. Yes, among the previous slide, please, before you get to that one. Yes. There's a Blue Radio ecosystem. Yes. So I want to focus on the impactful content areas. The reason we are called Blue Radio is because we are tapping into the vast blue economy sector. I heard someone in the first panel in the morning mention about the untapped potential in the blue economy sector. So Blue Radio is pushing for that. The agenda is around that. But at the same time, we are pushing for entrepreneurship, collaborating with various partners that are working in this sector of entrepreneurship, and also having the conversation around environment, especially now that we have the whole mangrove aspect within our region. So in conclusion, we want to know more about us. We have our stand out there. Make sure you meet the team. And we also have the radio set up in the boardroom, running out through the week. So if you get time, make sure you pass by and say hello to us, and maybe you have an opportunity to have an interview. Thank you.
Naomba tuwapigie makofi na nitawaambia kwa nini. Blue Radio imeanzishwa na iko na vijana wachanga sana. Naomba vijana watu wa Blue Radio wasimame tafadhali walipo, pale walipo. Blue Radio ndio wameinua mkono, ni vijana kabisa yani. Radio station zote mimi naona zaanzishwa tu na watu sitaki kusema wazee but wa makamu. But this is the only radio station, and they actually celebrated their 1 year, I think last week, but last week. So tuwapigie makofi, thank you so much for the amazing job you guys are doing. Thank you. Asante sana. And before we go to the next pitch, I would like to recognize the presence of, remember this is the Pwani Innovation Week. So we have all the way from Taita Taveta County, we have the CEC, for water, climate change, and natural resources. Granton Mwandawiro. Naomba usimame watu wakuone, wajue tumewakilisha Taita Taveta. Asante sana. Fundi up wako wapi? Fundi up wako wapi? Oh, asante. Karibu sana, uko na dakika zako 2-3 to give us your pitch. Thank you very much. Karibu.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. How is everyone doing? Now, I want you to imagine that for the last 10 years in this country, all the new jobs that have been created from the informal sector. In fact, restated, over 15 million Kenyans are making their earning, their living in the informal sector. By extension, this is not just a Kenyan problem. It's not a coastal region problem. It's in fact an African continental issue. The African Development Bank estimates that by the year 2050, there will be close to 365 million Kenyans, or 355 million young people who are between the ages of 15 and 24 years old. Now the question I would like to pose to you today is, where will the region find the jobs for such a young, rapidly growing population? The answer is what you are looking at here. So we thought for you and me that have an account on LinkedIn, or rather for those of us who have accounts like Fuzu or Brighter Monday, what does it look like for a plumber, for a carpenter? How does a carpenter who has been in the space for 15 years leverage on their experience for their next gig? Our idea is that we have thought about, let's think about what assessment, grading, upskilling, and certification would look like for our context. And what we are doing is, by extension, thinking about how do we allow these young people to have a digital presence. So if you download the Fundis mobile app, one, it allows you to have a free digital profile. By extension, that would be like a website for those of us who have those. Then secondly, we allow an artisan to be able to grow from one level to the next. This year only, we have been able to upskill at least 737 artisans, 35% of them women. And we are now focused on giving them jobs. But for you, the customer, what does this mean for you? We have made it absolutely very easy for you, whether you are a household, a property manager, a construction company, or simply an organization that has an office space that from time to time needs repairs, maintenance, and installation. So with this, I would like you to go check us out, www.fundis.co.ke, and if you place a job in Mombasa, between today all the way to Friday, you are likely to get a massive discount. Thank you so much for your time.
Asanteni sana, naomba tuwapigie makofi. Asante, thank you so much. We are 1 hour and 25 minutes behind schedule. And naona our next moderator anacheka, anajua nishamchinja time. Lakini kabla tuanze. I have a picture here. I need us to talk about this picture for 2 minutes. What do we see in this picture? Mental,
naona akili, sijui ni stress, sijui ni nini, help.
Anaona akili. Si wetu, waona nini katika hii picha?
Inaona inakaa ace, like a leaf or something like that. In help, a cry for help, something like that.
Menta ameona akili, si ameona a leaf. Mimi nimeona a tree. So we are together. What are we seeing in this picture? Tunaona nini katika hii picha? Yes? A brain. A brain. CEO, tunaona nini hapa? Ona brain. Brain inasema saidia. Okay. A brain that needs help. And with that, I just want to welcome Nyambura Kariuki as we talk about navigating the future of work. And inanihusu kwa sababu, I run an organization called Itana, which is a mental health organization. And all the CEOs and the bosses that are here, you'll agree with me when I say, our employees are in trouble. Kweli urongo. There's a lot of change that is happening right now in Kenya, in our economy, globally. And sisi kama mabosi saa zingine tuko na shida dealing with these employees because they need help and probably we don't know how to help them. So, karibu sana Nyambura Kariuki. You have exactly 30 minutes. Tumpigie makofi mwanadada anapokuja kumoderate. Haya, shika.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Tumeshiba. So, I want to, Shiko Gitau did a very good presentation. Nilikuwa nawaangalia na macho hivi. Nikagundua hatukuwa tunasikiza vizuri sana, but she ended with 3 things. People, lives, and dreams. Now the topic we're discussing today, the future of work, relates to us, Ivo. So I want you to say, myself, my life, my dreams. With a bit of energy, tafadhali. I only have 30 minutes. Myself, my life, my dreams. That's what we are going to be discussing today. And Poetic Hunter, again, very inspirational. I loved your poetry. The future is for those who believe in the beauty of the dreams. Are you seeing there is a repetitive thing here? Dreams, right? The future is for those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. For me personally, I believe that the best way to predict the future is to create it. And the way you know what is going to happen is to be an active participant. an active participant in how and what is happening in the future. So please, can you all be active participants in my session today? Sawa? And with that, let me invite my panelists. I am very honored to have Rauda Muhammad. Rauda, yupo. A big round of applause to her. She's not in the program, but she has agreed to step in. Rauda, karibu sana. Let's clap for our fellow youth. Rauda will tell us a little bit about herself. Then we have Philippa Mary, Head of Public Partnerships and Employer Engagements. Karibu sana, Philippa. We also have Alice Kimani, Partnerships and Youth Leader. Alice, karibu. Ali last the stage. We had you in the morning. We're very honored to have you again. And finally, this is the one panel that has met gender equality. We have Vil Wakling. Vil, karibu sana. Do we have another microphone? Okay, so we're going to start from the far end. As we start today, let us share a little bit about ourselves and what perspective you have on this topic.
Good afternoon. My name again is Alice Kimani. I work with the young people in the Ajira Digital Program. And in this program, which is an initiative of the Ministry of ICT and Digital Economy, we are funded by MasterCard Foundation. The program is implemented by two partners. One of our partners is Immobilis, and we have KEPSA, Kenya Private Sector Alliance. Immobilis enhances the skills of young people, preparing them for work. So through the work readiness program, we prepare them so that they can be able to be competitive enough in the place of work. And KEPSA, we have the mandate of linking the young people to employment opportunities. So when these young people come to us, we look for partners through the private sector, and our members are able to offer employment opportunities. I've previously worked in the gig economy, and I have a great passion in the gig economy and youth employment. And I'm hoping that the 1.9 million people that are working online, we can be able to grow that number because our young people are looking for job opportunities, and we're also looking at creating an enabling environment where the businesses are able to thrive, and when these businesses thrive, they're able to create job opportunities for the young people. Thank you.
So my name is Philippa Omolo, and I think I used to have your job in Ajira. So I lead partnerships and employer engagement for Global Opportunity Youth Network, Mombasa. I'm an employee of the Global Development Incubator, which is part of the implementing partners with our anchor partner for GIN Swahili Port Hub. My role primarily within this project and what we want to achieve is to ensure that the youth are employed. This is a youth employment program that we're incubating, and actually we are past the pilot program here in Mombasa. And contextually, I was a beneficiary of the Ajira Digital Program when it started 2016, 2017. I used to be where you're sitting one time. I was an opportunity youth myself. I went through the training pipeline, went through the country program for the Ajira Digital Program, leading that initiative. That's why I said, I think you used to have my job. And now just looking at creating that impact from a high level, just being able to bring on board the right partners who can accelerate employment for youth here in Mombasa, and just to have sustainable solutions that we can look at. I always live by the mantra that I'd want to create so many Philippas within the community and beneficiaries that I work with. And of course, we were having a conversation with Nyambura in terms of the digital economy being a pipeline to employment. That is what accelerated my career. And I'm just happy to have this conversation and share the insights that I've gathered over the years. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ville Waklin. It's, by the way, Ville. So I always tell people who speak Swahili, I understand there is a Swahili word, Ville. So it's that, but you stay with the L a little bit longer, Ville. There you go. I work as a head of partnerships and chief of staff at FUSU. And I was asked to also speak about my background a little bit. And I start that with a confession. I wasn't a techie person at all growing up. My first two career goals or career dreams, we're talking about dreams today, so this I came up when I was 20. First one, to be a rock star. A second one, to do something that's even remotely meaningful somewhere close to the equator. So those two have been my guiding light in my career. So the first seven years of my career, I worked in the Finnish education sector, as well as in the music business in Finland. I used to write songs for different artists. I toured with different bands. And yeah, I've been writing songs and music for TV series, movies, radio, playlists, and all that. And the reason I say all this is not that I want to brag about my, it's not really rock star history, but history in music anyway. It's more about how you acquire skills in the future of work. You no longer, your only option no longer is to go to a university and get a certain degree. There's many ways you can get skills online, through your hobbies, like I did, for example. From music business, I've learned a lot about networking, creativity, event production, all these kind of things. So then transitioning into my 30s, I started leaning towards my second dream, which was to do something remotely meaningful somewhere close to the equator. So I started working with different non-profits, mostly in the education and employment space. I ran program in the creative industries. I understand that Swahili Pot is also big on creativity, so that's still super close to my heart. And yeah, so these kind of programs where we did good work, but I always felt like the scale was missing. And that's when I started getting really curious about technology and how technology can really scale and bring more impact to education and employment. So now, transitioning into my early 40s, I work at FUSU. And for those who don't know, we are career development and employment platform. We have services for job seekers, building career profiles, helping people to understand which skills they are still missing in order to get their dream job. We offer different kind of training, job matching, and on the employer side, we have a variety of tools that we use to connect the best talent to employers. And as a newest dimension, we work also with global companies to hire the best African talent remotely, and also a little bit physically in the healthcare sector. We have about 2.5 million talent profiles on our platform, more than 8,000 employers, and are looking for that talent. So 3 perspectives for this discussion for me: skills, jobs, and how technology can boost those 2 without causing too much noise.
Good afternoon. My name is Rauda Muhammad. I'm a volunteer at Swahili Pot, but I also sit at a board of Vijana Youth Advisory Board by GOAN. I represent the youth of Mvita sub-county. And I was also a former president of Mount Kenya University Mombasa campus. And thank you so much for having me here at this panel. It was a short notice, but I'll try to represent the youth as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhoda. So we're going to start with you. When you talk about the future of work, everybody talks about skills. The skills are changing. You come out from university today, you find that what you learned is no longer relevant. So Rhoda, in your youth advisory work, how can youth prepare themselves for the changing skills demand?
Okay, I'll talk about the importance of investing in yourself as a youth. As much as we are going to school, we're going to get our degree. I'm currently doing Bachelor of Procurement. I also did Diploma in Procurement. But my main focus was not just to sit in the four walls and learn from the teachers. I was more into going to these kind of events. Last year I was just an attendee. Right now, I'm here speaking. It's like creating networks, creating skills that you have never had before. So this is one of the ways of a youth can invest in themselves. And congratulations to all of you who took their time and came here just to listen, just to gain something. But as you listen, get to know people, get to network, and get to invest in yourself. What am I good at? Look at yourself. What am I good at? And how can I upscale it? And also, investing also means investing in someone else. You can't just focus on focusing just on yourself. The more you invest in others, the more opportunities comes to you. So there is the importance of investing in oneself. That's my one take. And also investing in others.
Thank you. So investing in yourself and investing in others. Thank you very much. So for Vil, you work with linking employers to young people and to people who are looking for employment. How is this changing in the lifetime that you've been working towards the future? What are the changes that you're seeing?
I don't know if it's gonna change so much. You know, there's still supply and demand, and we need to find ways to match those two. I think my comment would go more to the supply side, and by that I mean educational institutions, training programs, skilling programs, on how they define which skills they will train. Like what's the process of identifying where the demand lies. So, and I feel that pain because it's really difficult. The skills in demand are changing at the speed of light at the moment, so it's really extremely difficult to keep up or make 5-year plans that for the next 5 years we train senior developers, junior developers, whatever you do, because the demand changes all the time. But what I really recommend is to keep the feedback loop extremely short for all the education providers, training providers, to be in close collaboration with the private sector, learn about their needs, discuss where they think the world is moving, which skills will be in need in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and let that define your strategies in your education servings. So that's pretty much what I see. And maybe one other point about remote work. We all went through pandemic, which about, is it now 4 years ago? Something like this, 3 years ago at least. It turned a lot of the companies to remote companies. And I still feel that many of the companies didn't really apply remote work strategies to make the remote work effective. They just went remote without really thinking how to effectively make that happen. So really encouraging all companies to look into that as well. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And that leads us very well to Philippa and Alice. So you spend a lot of time on employer engagement and filling the feedback loop that Vil has just talked about. So how are the different business models, what are the changes in the business models that employers are taking, and what actions are your programs doing to close that feedback loop?
Okay. So some of the key changes that we've seen is that employers want to integrate, especially with talent that aligns with where the market is going to. So that means that they're integrating more technology. A lot of the systems are being over-automated more than the usual automation that was previously there. And this presents both an opportunity and a challenge as well, because we are seeing that a lot of jobs are dying down and a lot of other opportunities are coming up, especially when you bring in the digital economy aspect. Employers feel that it's more of an advantage to have digital skills in relation to maybe a technical skill that you'd have. And we are seeing a lot of trends in terms of workplace learning. So moving away from the relevance, I mean, I'm not saying that TVET institution skillings is not relevant, but we're seeing a lot of employers saying they want to adopt workplace learning to train the youth on the specific job they would want to do. So this, of course, we see it as an opportunity, and I'd really encourage the youth to look at ways in which they use what we call digital citizenship, which is the way, how do you learn through the internet? How do you use the internet to gain more opportunities, either through skilling and employment? Because what you're saying in terms of skills trends being and growing day to day is aligned with where exactly are business models going, how is business going to grow if I have a workforce that then has youth who are digitally enabled. Yeah.
Thank you. Alice, same question.
Okay, how employers are adopting to the new changes in the digital economy. One is decentralized workplaces, whereby we have employers embracing remote working and gig work. We have employers who have come to terms that employees are actually more productive when they are flexible and when they're given more time to work on their own. And these employers have adopted the model of working from home and remote working, which has been working for, well for international companies. And also Kenyan companies are adopting the same model. We have also gig work, where employees do not want to be tied into an 8-to-5 job. All they want is a good pay, good working condition, and if you're able to do one job at a time, and you can be able to do several other tasks, then that is the flexibility that the young people are looking for. We also have a hybrid mode of working, where employers can have you in the office for some days in the week, then other days you can be working from home or remotely. And these virtual modes of working has actually been researched, and it has actually proven to have more productivity than where you have to tie your employees to come to work 8-to-5, being stuck in traffic 3-4 hours. When they get to the office, they are tired and they are already preparing to go home.
Okay, thank you very much. So it sounds like there's a lot of change happening, and the change is happening in the modes and how we work. Now, technology is always blamed for taking jobs. And a lot of times when we do youth programming, we hear that technology is replacing us. So rather, is technology taking the jobs for young people?
I would look at it this way. Technology is here. Technology will come. Change is always constant. It will always be there. But when you're talking about technology coming up, we need people who can take care of those items, equipment. Or if we have robots, we need people who can do the coding. We need people who can command the robots. We need people who can do the code working. So the more technology is coming up, the more opportunities are coming to me. Because the question comes back to us. What are we doing to prepare ourselves for the change that is coming? What are we doing? Are we learning more skills regarding technology? Are we learning more skills regarding coding, regarding anything to do with the future of the world, which is digital by there?
So the future is digital. And to that, Bill, my question to you is, as we embrace generative AI, we can't have a future of work discussion without talking about generative AI, ChatGPT. How are you ensuring employers that the person you place has the skills and they have not actually used an AI to present themselves?
That's a great question. It's funny because I would have answered that anyway, even if you didn't ask. Let's start with myself. I use ChatGPT almost every day. It's my biggest critique. It's my colleague. It's my friend. It helps me to think clearer. So there's nothing wrong about using ChatGPT, but where people go wrong a lot, what we see in recruitment industry all the time is that rather than using ChatGPT as your friend, someone to brainstorm with, someone to, just fine-tune your job application, a lot of people just copy-paste the questions in the job application, post them on ChatGPT, boom. and what comes out is just a bunch of really general answers to these job application questions. So if you felt a stung in your heart here, don't stop using ChatGPT, but use it for sparring. Don't use it just as it is, because then you will get caught. You will not get the job, most probably, unless you get really lucky. But yes, it's a phenomena in our industry, and yesterday, I was thinking about, I was having a discussion whether we should integrate like this ChatGPT, scanning system on Fusu platform, which could detect if, how many % of this application was generated by ChatGPT. So, yeah, as a wrap-up, use it, but use it smartly.
That's very good. So we use technology, ChatGPT, not to replace our brains, but to assist us, right? So we still need our creative thinking. We need to make decisions. If we take away our ability to do that, then we're really not going to grow to the future. I can see Angela looking at me, so I'm talking about mental health now. So with mental health, I deserve 10 more minutes. And so Philippa, 5 minutes, okay. So mental health is really becoming a big challenge. With COVID, anxiety came in, and really, what are employers making efforts? Have you seen any efforts as you're engaging with employers to address mental health in the workplace?
What I've seen, because I engage quite a lot with the employers on a day-to-day, is there's an intentional effort to build the youth through mentorship. So I would say not an intentional conversation or a topic towards mental health and addressing it as a thematic area. And I feel like that is an emerging conversation that needs to come up. I know that mentorship has been a big component, especially retention of youth in the workplace, which then ultimately helps their mental health because they're able to say, I have support in the workplace, I'm able to be retained in a job opportunity, I have guidance. But towards even having this particular component within the workplace with a dedicated workforce or person within the team to support hasn't been there. But whenever we engage with HR professionals, we see that there's an intentional effort to now speak to their superiors and start to let them know that actually the well-being of your employees is very important, and how can we even allocate resources and personnel to actualize this. So there still needs a lot to be done, and in some of the platforms that we put together, even in the career fair we're having tomorrow, I know there's also a policy on this, whereby an employer is actually not supposed to call you after 5 p.m. So such, deliberate and dedicated steps towards ensuring employee well-being has begun, but still there's a lot more to be done.
Thank you. And to Alice, I know Ajira really advocates for gig economy and on-demand work, but how do you really advocate for mental health on an environment that is so focused on delivery?
First, we have two challenges in the gig economy and in freelancing. One, we have a tendency of gig workers wanting to overcommit, where we have projects that are seasonal. So sometimes we have a season that has so many jobs, and at other times we have a season that has no jobs at all. So when there is a high season, people and gig workers tend to overcommit and take more projects that they can handle. That's where you find them probably suffering from mental health, because someone is not taking enough rest, someone is working overnight, the following day they are overworking. And the second problem we have is fear of missing out. You want to be online all the time because you want to be the bird that catches the worm every time. So this fear of missing out could put you in a bad place mentally, because you want to be working and you do not want to miss on the coin that probably the platforms are showing to pay. And how we can probably handle this menace of well-being, especially for gig workers. One is for time management. Take it as just as a normal job. Just like you go to job 8 to 5, then you pack and go home and you do not open your laptop. Just take it as a normal job, whereby you commit yourself. I'll be working from this time to this time, then I'll be resting from what time, so that you can have that discipline to work online. Otherwise, you will be overwhelmed and you will suffer. The second thing you can do is self-care and have strong social support, because most of the gig workers work virtually and they work from home. So this person could be in the house like 24/7, they're in the house. You do not have a social network. You do not interact with people. You just interact with your machine. And this could cause you to suffer from mental health. And the way maybe to cover this is having a social support system, especially from your family and friends, whereby weekends you can be taking a break and visiting your friends and having interact with in social activities.
Thank you very much. And then, Rauta, I'd love for you to answer the question in terms of how can youth really take care of themselves to guarantee mental health.
I think for me, what works for me is I go at my own pace. Like, just go at your own pace. There is no rush. Whatever is meant for you, you'll get it. Whatever is not meant for you, you'll get it maybe on a later date or something. And stop comparing yourself with other people in the social media life, because people don't portray their bad times in the social media. They only portray when they're in their good times. So you never know what is happening behind the curtain. What are they going through behind the curtain? And also, if you see somebody who is successful, somebody who is doing her best or his best in the social media, don't try to think, what is that person doing behind the curtain? What is the work that person is really doing over and over again? Because if you do that work, then maybe you can reach on a better place, or you can reach the level of that person. But if you compare yourself and you're just sleeping at home, then mental health will just be your issue every day. Thank you.
So very, very good. So do not compare yourself with others. We all have our own timelines. And finally, on mental health, any statement on mental health?
Yeah, sure. This was a really good comment on like, you are going at your own pace. Don't compare yourself with anyone else. It's so important. I'm a victim of that toxic thinking. You know, always in the wrong place, always doing the wrong career. Somewhere else is always better. So thank you for that. Maybe I'd like to add a few things that I don't think was mentioned. I couldn't quite hear what you were saying, but so bear with me if I duplicate some things. So I start with concentration. If you work digitally, make sure that the information channels are, let's rephrase. Try to mute your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok. When you try to focus on something, those things take your concentration away so quickly, and getting back to that deep focus concentration moment is difficult. I have a question for you. I just read yesterday a research paper. Guess how long does a knowledge worker concentrate at one time, on average? 2 hours? 1 hour? Uninterrupted concentration. 1 hour?
30 minutes.
30 minutes? The answer is 48 seconds. 48 seconds. So basically you write your report or whatever paper you're doing for your work, and every 40 seconds on average you get disrupted by some kind of Slack message or WhatsApp or LinkedIn or something like that. So try to close those channels. When you focus on something, block your time to be completely concentrating on that. It's also good for your mental health, because then our brain is not designed to constantly receive all these messages, news from here and there. It's really consuming for our brains. And then another thing is recovery. Remember to recover. That's so important. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A lot of discussion here. FOMO, fear of missing out, mental health, taking care of yourself, focusing on your own journeys. I'd like to open up for any questions from the audience or any comments yourself on any of these topics. Please, if you have a question, put your hands up. Yes?
Thank you so much for the discussion. Actually, I enjoyed every word that you've mentioned. Very quickly, just a comment on the first question that I picked, that you did ask about young people coming out of universities or trainings, and they are getting a skill shock. Now, the question here is, which is the epicenter for the skills? Universities produce skills. At workplace also we have skills, and skills keep on changing. Now, one thing is that at workplace, that's not the only place that skills keep changing. When young people come and join the workplace, also they come with different ideas and new skills that should be integrated with the one that they have found there. So what you only get different is the how we do it. This is how we do it. But the skill is not necessarily changing at workplace. The young people can come in and put in new ideas and change completely on how things are done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
There's so much talk about mental health awareness, but what I've not noticed is we don't seem to have a lot of occupational therapists in companies and in offices. So what do you think about that?
So to the employer engagement, we don't seem to have a lot of occupational therapists. Any comments on that?
Yes, like anything new, it takes time to acclimatize in the workplace, and that's why in one of my comments I mentioned employers are focusing a lot on mentorship and just guiding the youth, and now something that's emerging is that mentorship needs to also come hand in hand with the mental health conversation. And you see, with mental health, looking at occupational therapy, counseling, you need to have resources to have a dedicated support within that. So we want to have active conversations. These have already started with employers so that they can be able to see how employee well-being is actually directly beneficial to the employees and to the business itself. So it's an emerging conversation. Like I said, not too much is being done, but it's a conversation that has begun.
I want to echo what my friend has said here. And KEPSA, through our membership, we have started sessions on mental well-being. We actually had a session this month focusing on supporting mental well-being. We realized there are a lot of employees suffering from mental health, and that came up as a capacity building package so that we can support employees to be able to perform effectively and efficiently.
Thank you. I am Evelyn. I really like the discussion and around how the young people can ensure that they are protecting their own space so that they are productive. But then I'm also wondering on how we can leverage the power of collaboration to ensure that young people are also working, for instance, within communities and being able to work as agile teams to ensure that even as, yes, they are keeping their own mental health, and they are able to work within their own space, they are not also missing on opportunities and they are able to grow sustainably. Thank you.
I didn't get the question. You didn't. Okay.
Okay, so we didn't quite hear the question. I think you were talking about young people working in groups. Swahili Pot is an example of that, so I'll just give an example of how can young people work in groups to support themselves on mental health.
Okay, I don't know if I got the question right, but maybe I can put it this way. Collaboration, you talked about collaboration. How can people collaborate? How can youth not miss out in opportunities? We are all here, right? There are a lot of employers, there are a lot of entrepreneurs, there are a lot of investors around here. Has any one of us take an initiative to talk to any, just to get to know that person? The art of networking. You know, the more you network, the more you get numbers, the more opportunities when it gets there, the more you can access those opportunities. So it's all about oneself. It's all about how you push yourself around when you're in these kind of engagements, events. How do you collaborate? How do you talk to people with a purpose? And another thing, talking about a purpose, in Swahili Pots, you can come and volunteer your time. But I would advise you, don't just come to volunteer just because Swahili Pots is a good space, but come volunteer with a purpose. What do you want to get out as in the next 2 months, in the next 3 months? What do you want Swahili Pots to do for you? What do you want to gain? Which kind of skills do you want to gain? Then when you get there, there are lots of departments. You're going to be told, come support this. So the more you support people, the more skills you get, and the more when opportunity comes, haishuki mbali, itashuka hapo hapo. That's what I tell people, that's what I tell myself. If you just keep on volunteering your time, learning more skills, then opportunities takuja, na you'll be able to grab them. So I hope I answered well. Thank you.
Okay, so as we close, I'd like to thank everybody for today's discussion. We had prepared for over an hour, so sorry we're rushing the conversation. I think the general thing is, in the future of work, the constant is change. Some people are very sure that the future is the gig economy. There's definitely automation coming. There's artificial intelligence. What's important is to have a purpose and meaning in your life, to be engaged and to be active in what is going on, so that you can be able to adapt yourself, to be able to take advantage of opportunities. Thank you for listening to us. We appreciate, and enjoy the rest of the sessions.
Okay, just before you leave, please do not leave. I would like to ask Jackie to come, because we love you and we appreciate you, and we are so grateful you've done an amazing, amazing job. Naomba tuwapigie makofi tafadhali. And poleni kwa kukata. No, just sit, you're special. Just keep sitting. Yeah. This is Jackie. She's from Swahili Pot. We are grateful. We are gifting our panelists because they have actually taken their time to be here. And so we are grateful as Swahili Pot Hub. Asanteni sana. So there is a small gift. Of course, it is not enough to pay for your time, but it's just an appreciation. Aya, asanteni sana, sasa tunaweza ondoka. Asante, tuwapigie makofi wanapoondoka. Thank you very much. Thank you. I need help. James, I need help with her. Aya, asante sana. Sasa kuna kitu moja nilikuwa niwaambie. I started by asking about this painting. I got this painting here in one of the stalls. Hii painting. Nilipata kwa one of the stalls. Alafu I asked the artist, anaitwa Kongani. Kongani yuko hapa? Yule pale juu. Ameinua mkono yule pale kijana mdogo pale. Nikamuuliza hii painting ni pesa ngapi, because I was curious about what it is all about. Naomba mtu aniambie anaweza nunua hii painting na pesa ngapi. Ako na stall yake pale nyuma, hapa tu nyuma hapa hivi. Mtu anaweza nunua hii painting na pesa ngapi? Acclamation. Dr. Safia, hii painting unaweza buy na how much? Value on the work, I'm watching you guys. Value on the artist, I'm watching you guys. No, I'm asking you guys, how much can you buy this painting for? Shilingi 500, CEO amesema shilingi 500. 1,000. Ya Kenya ama ya Tanzania? Oh, ya Kenya, haya, asante. Dr. Safi, 2,000. Young people, ukiambiwa ununue painting utanunua na pesa ngapi? 2,000. Ngapi? 5,000. That's the highest bidder. 1,000. 30,000. Mbona umesema 30,000? Hebu njoo niambie kwa nini umesema 30,000. Njoo uniambie kwa nini umesema 30,000.
Well, just sometimes, let's appreciate art. Umeona hii kitu kwa ndani inakuja content. Ni kama ndani imeandikwa help. Unaweza iona? Okay. And then hapa hiyo tree ni kama sijui ni tree gani, but imeni capture tu. I don't know what I'll say. Sababu sina, but imeni capture. Ukweli tu ni hiyo.
Amesema yeye imemcapture tu. Hiyo si sababu nzuri, lakini ni sababu. Njoo niambie kwa nini umesema 5,000.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Swale. Oh my. This is art. I actually don't know what that person was thinking while drawing this. This person must have invested his or her time doing this. So I would love to appreciate that art.
Thank you. Tuwapigie makofi hao wote. Everyone is right though. So, naomba tuende pale kwa stall ya Kongani. Go and buy his paintings. Akona very amazing paintings. Hapa tu nyuma hivi. And one of them is this one. If you want to buy it at 2,000, you want to buy it at 1,000, at 500, at 30,000, at 5,000, at 2,000, daktari. So, na nitamuuliza baadaye imenunuliwa na pesa ngapi, lakini I expect tununue hii painting. We are moving on into the next session. Lakini, tukiangalia pale nyuma kuna bendera pale. Tunaziona zile bendera? Nataka mniambie bendera hii ya kwanza ni ya nani? Acclamation. The first bendera yenye iko hapa hivi ni ya nani? Ni ya nani? Mombasa County. Aya, Mombasa County, bendera Mombasa County. Aya, ya pili. Bendera ya pili. Ethiopia. Mko sure? Aya, sawa. Bendera ya tatu? Tanzania, sawa. Bendera ya 4? Oh, Belgium, okay. Mmesikia Uganda. Bendera ya 5? France. Na ya 6? Hiyo ndio mbona mmesema na confidence. Thank you so much.
Breakout session 1 shall be moderated by K. Matereke from Tactive Consulting and shall be happening at Ali Mazrui Hall, which is right above there. And here for the Amphitheater, we're going to be having a breakout session on the coastal resilience strategies for climate action in the coastal strip. That is coastal resilience strategies for climate action in the coastal strip. Now, without much further ado, we shall move on to invite and welcome the partners. And our first partner shall be Bosco Juma, the Executive Director of Big Ship CBO. Makofi yake tafadhali as he comes to the stage. I think he can dance for us as well since DJ amecheza kama yeye. Mr. Bosco, the stage is yours if you want to dance for us. You can break a move. Thank you, Mr. Bosco. Next, we shall have Priyanka Patel, the Innovation Manager from Kenya Red Cross. Makofi ya Miss Priyanka tafadhali. Let's appreciate her as she comes. Thank you very much, Miss Priyanka. Karibu. Next, we shall move on to Mr. Granton Wandawiro, who is our CECM, Water, Climate Change, and Natural Resources, Taita Taveta County. Makofi ya waziri tafadhali. Thank you very much. Next, we shall have Jackson Kiplagat, the Marine Officer, National Environment Management Authority. Mr. Jackson Kiplagat. Yes, I believe he'll be able to join us probably as we go on. Then next we shall have Dr. Asma Awad, the Course Kenya Program Manager, WWF. Makofi ya daktari as she comes to the stage, tafadhali. Thank you very much. And last but not least, we shall introduce our captain for this particular session. And that shall be none other than Mr. Samuel Mue, the Executive Director of Kenya Nimimi. Mr. Samuel, makofi ya Mr. Samuel tafadhali. He is well dressed for the occasion. We must appreciate him for the extra effort. Sindio? Thank you very much, and I shall be handing over to him. Over to you.
Hello. Hi. Hi. You guys look so bored. Are you guys bored? Are you bored? DJ, put some music. Please, let's stand up for this. Put some music. Let's have some fun. Let's stand up. Hey. Let's stand up, yes. Move kidogo, songa kidogo. Hey. Hey. Why are you sitting down? Please stand up, stand up, stand up. Hey. Move a little bit, please. Woo! Hey, hey. Where is the energy in the room, please? Aya, let's move kidogo. Hey, hey. Woo. You guys are not fun. You're very boring. Please. Wait, maybe it's a song. It's a wrong song. DJ, you have heard them. Is that better? Aya, let's go.
LG. LG.
Move with me, move with me. Hey, hey.
Mr. LG. Dula, dula, dula. Anataka kula. Dula taki nazi. Anataka kula. Dula taki viazi. Anataka kula. Dula, dula, dula.
Thank you. Are you guys feeling better now? Are you feeling better? Yo ni kionjo tu. Anyways, on Friday we'll be here to dance, right? On Friday we are dancing properly. Exactly. At Pwani Got Talent. Anyways, my name is Sam. Currently, I am the Executive Director at Kenya Nimimi. Happy to be here today with you guys. I have an amazing panel with me today. It's gender equal, it's robust, it is youthful, has a lot of insight. Today we are talking about coastal resilience, right? We all know about climate change, yes? Do we know about climate change? Yes? No? Yes? No? Well, I think we know about the climate crisis at the moment. We know how it is impacting different communities across the entire globe. But today we're going to focus mainly on the coastal region, okay? Looking at the 6 counties, right? And how is climate change affecting us? But not only that, we're looking and seeing how can we be innovative, right? It's Pwani Innovation Week. We're looking and seeing how do we build resilience and how do we impact communities for the same. So I will welcome my panel who will tell us who they are briefly and also tell us what does climate resilience mean, especially for the coastal region, right? Help us set some context to understand why are we having this conversation today and why is it important, okay? We can start with Waziri here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. My name is Granton Mwandaviro. I'm the CCM in charge of water, sanitation, environment, climate change, and natural resources from Taita Taveta County. Why climate resilience? When you look at the context of the coast and the communities that live here and what they use or how their ways of life are, they are really affected by climate change. Most of our coastal communities are either farmers, if you're going up country, or when you come down to the coastline, the fishermen. But due to change of weather patterns, the climate change issues, some of these activities that they used to do, be it farming, be it fishing, and what you're getting back as returns on investments when you're doing maybe farming is not as it used to. So we need to kind of look at this context and see how we can be resilient enough to counter these aspects of climate change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Waziri, for that. Mr. Bosco, Mr. CEO, talk to us.
Asante sana. I am Bosco Juma, Executive Director of Big Ship, and I have over 10 years working in conserving the marine ecosystem. Your question was, what is climate resilience? Coastal resilience. So first, you need to understand what is coastal. Coastal means the ocean, the coastal forest, terrestrial, and the mangrove forest, and all the ecosystem found within the coastal strip. And coastal resilience is any program that supports the community and the ocean itself and the infrastructure within to ensure that it survives from the impacts of climate change, be it floods. So you see people have been mentioned among the coastal ecosystem, just like the ocean and the others. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karibu Sana. Good to have you in the panel. Yes.
Good afternoon. I'm Priyanka, so I'm the Innovation Manager at Kenya Red Cross. And I think it's a very sensitive topic when it comes to humanitarian work, when it comes to climate, and especially the term resilience. So thank you for explaining climate. And now the question is, sorry, the word of coastal, but the word here is resilience. How can we say that communities are resilient, or all of us? You know, what is interesting is that we've had a lot of innovations and a lot of solutions that have been channeled towards climate resilience or climate adaptation and climate mitigation, such heavy words. But the question really lies is, are we able to fight? Are we able to survive? We look at the heat that is hitting us in September, which I'm not from Mombasa, and I can already see that this is, I'm already scared for what December will look like if September looks this hot. That is climate change. And how do we protect ourselves from that heat, from getting burned, from getting skin damages as well? How do we protect ourselves? Dehydration, that is resilience now. But not everyone can afford to be resilient. And that's where then we come in to support and guide and mentor, walk the journey so that communities have access to becoming resilient. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. Thank you. Daktari, up to you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Asma Awad. I work with WWF as the manager for the Coastal Kenya program. In our program, one way we are working on increasing resilience is through nature-based solutions. Now, everything has been defined here. So anyway, I think I can add on to resilience because it's a very important one, and maybe I can build in also the previous conversation. So resilience of a coastal ecosystem, it is the ability of the coastal coastal system, not ecosystem, but system, to anticipate, to prepare for, respond to, and recover from disasters of climate change. Now, resilience is resilience, be it in the ecosystem, be it in a system, be it in people. Some people are more resilient than others. Previously, we were talking about mental health, and I think one of the things, at least I know I have been trained on, is improving resilience. Being able to anticipate what are the problems, like you're saying, if September is this hot, what will happen in December? To prepare for. So we know that December will be hotter. How are we going to prepare for that? And then to execute what we have prepared for. And then after the hot period is over and the dry period is over or the storm period is over, to recover from that. That is having resilience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And just to stay with you, Asma, you talk a lot about what resilience means, right? Working with communities, working with people. What role do communities play in building resilience? And, especially when it comes to nature-based solutions, how do you incorporate also traditional knowledge, indigenous knowledge in building resilience, especially in the coastal region that is very rich with culture and tradition?
Okay, the community has a role to play because we are the community. The community, maybe all of us at the coast right now, there are 5 million of us. It is, if you are in a specific forest, say Shimba Hills, it's the people living there. If you are in an island, say some island in Lamu, like, which island? Ndau Island, its ability, that is the community there. So how we are working with nature-based solutions, it depends on where you are. At your level, let's say you have a forest near your area, or you are living in Mombasa in Kisauni. Look at how it is. One, we have Bosco here. I know they work with cleaning of, managing plastics. By reducing and managing plastics, communities, one, refusing to use plastics, two, reusing and ensuring right disposal of them, you are reducing the waste. By doing so, you are, in case of a storm, in case of a big rain, there's not going to be flooding. And if there is, at least it's not exacerbated by the plastics. The other thing is greening of towns. Right now in Kenya, we have, the ambition of planting how many billion trees?
15 billion trees.
Those ones.
Yes.
We have that ambition. Now that should be done everywhere. It doesn't have to, it can be done, if you are living in the rural areas, it can be planting of trees and reforestation and restoring, of the forest. But if you are living in a town, if all you can do is have, what is it called, rose flower plants outside, have it. If all you can have is an orange tree, have it. By doing so, you are greening the area, you are increasing, you are creating a better microenvironment for yourself and improving the resilience of that place. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You've talked a lot about what community is. It's all of us. We are part of that community. Thank you so much. Priyanka, I'll ask you, from your capacity at Kenya Red Cross as the innovation manager, what is the role of innovation in building resilience? And could you give us some examples of what you have been able to achieve at Kenya Red Cross in terms of fostering innovation, and how that is able to build resilience, especially in the coastal region?
I think I'll start with answering what innovation is. And I'm just looking at the room right now, and I can see some of them are listening, some are not. I've seen some have left, and I'm seeing that it's the time, and we're trying to figure out, okay, how do we keep audience in here? Should we dance, for instance? That's being innovative. Should we plant trees to address the whole idea of climate change? That's being innovative. But those 15 billion trees that we speak of, we will plant them. Let's say we'll plant 25, even 30 billion. How many will survive those? From that, we'll have those that are nurtured, those that are not nurtured. And if they're not nurtured, you'll find anything and everything within a week, they'll die. You find those that are nurtured, you'll find them there, but then floods come in, and that's it, heat comes in, if you go to Garissa and you start planting trees like mango trees, for instance, they won't survive. So I agree with her as well that we need to try and do something within our own homes first